Welcome to episode 2 of Thai Talks, my wellness podcast. I am so excited that you have decided to join me once again. And for those of you that are here for the very first time, I'd like to tell you a little about myself as well as this podcast. I am Ty, and I am a wellness advocate as well as a peer support specialist. My role in life is to encourage, empower, and enlighten those of you on your journey to healing. This podcast is the platform to do just that. I take the tools, the wisdom, and the knowledge that I have gathered over the years, and I share it with you to empower you on your journey to healing and wholeness. I am so excited that you are here, and let's dive right into episode 2. I want you to repeat this with me. My thoughts have power, because the reality is they do. If you're familiar with the law of attraction, then you're already ahead of the game, because that's exactly what we're talking about today. And if you're not familiar with it, no worries. I have plenty of information that I love to share with you today. I was introduced to the law of attraction in 2017, and if I'm honest, it was a life-changing experience for me. I was introduced to the law of attraction by way of The Secret. The Secret is a book, but it's also a lifestyle. The law of attraction, simply put, is like attracts like. This is basically saying your thoughts have the power to attract your reality. And I know it may seem too simple to be true, but we actually possess a power that we don't always consciously tap into. But today, I want to help you shift your perspective and your way of living. Think of yourself as a magnet, and the things that you think about, you actually draw into your life. If you really consider yourself being a powerful magnet that draws the things that you think about, I bet that would shape your life in a different way, because you would be more mindful of the things that you're thinking. You'd be more mindful of the things that you're saying, because you wouldn't constantly have on repeat the things that you do not want into your life. This is how the law of attraction works. We subconsciously think about things that we are frustrated about, that upset us, that stress us, that overwhelm us. It's as if we take a magnifying glass and we put it to our problems and we magnify the problems in our lives. And the reality is, when we do that, we cause the problems to grow. We cause our focus to be on the problems more. And then before we realize it, we're on a downward spiral of negative thought patterns. But today, I want you to know that your thoughts have power, and you can shift the way that you think and change your life. Now, some of you may be asking, okay, Ty, how do I do that? Well, adopt an optimistic mindset. And this does not happen overnight. We have thousands and thousands of thoughts that we think per day. And our mind has been programmed over the years to think a certain way based upon experiences, trauma. So we have to be intentional with our thought power. We have to be intentional when we're reprogramming our mind. And how can you be intentional? One of the ways that you can be intentional is by working with affirmations. Taking a saying, a quote, and repeating that quote or that saying to yourself over time. This helps reprogram the thoughts that you are telling yourself. Over time, over the years, you may have told yourself, I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm not enough. I'll never be able to accomplish that. And your mind is in total agreement with what you have been saying. So the things that you want to accomplish, they seem harder and harder to do. or far beyond your reach. Because this is what you have programmed yourself to believe. But if you begin to use tools of affirmation and tell yourself, even if you don't quite feel it at the moment, but tell yourself, I am powerful. I am capable. I can achieve my dreams. I can achieve these goals. I can do anything that I set out to do. If you constantly feed yourself these thoughts, these words, over time, you reprogram your mind to believe exactly what you're saying. The Bible tells us that whatsoever a man thinketh, so is he. Now, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what have you been thinking lately? What have you been telling yourself lately? What is the story that you're repeating over and over in your mind? Are you miserable at your job? Are you unhappy in your relationship? Do you feel like you have unsuccessful friendship dynamics? What are you repeating to yourself? And I want you to take a look at your reality. Can you see the correlation of your thoughts, of your words in real time? Now, don't be too hard on yourself. I remember when I first was introduced to the law of attraction, I cried like a baby because the reality really sunk in. I had attracted a lot of unwanted things into my life because I didn't understand the power of my thoughts. The things that I did not want, I constantly had on repeat because I felt like the things that I really wanted were not attainable because of my reality, not realizing my reality was because of the thoughts that I was thinking, the words that I was saying, and the people that I had connected to based off of my own actions. That was a very hard pill to swallow because at the end of the day, I had no one to blame. I had to look in the mirror and say, Ty, you have created this reality, but you also have the power to change it. And I want you to know the same thing. Repeat this with me. My thoughts have power. You actually have to see yourself in a better state than where you are right now. It's easier to focus on the things that are going wrong, especially when we're living in the current moment of it. But the law of attraction says, like attracts like. So what you have to do is envision yourself in the place that you desire to be. If you desire to be in good health, if you desire to be well off, if you desire to live a life in peace and harmony, you actually have to envision yourself that way. This is where meditation comes in. Taking time in stillness, sometimes guided. And meditation is not everyone's thing. It can be really hard to silence your mind, especially if you are used to it constantly going. But just because something is hard does not mean it's not capable. So, being intentional with getting in a relaxed state and visualizing the reality that you desire. If you want to see yourself in good health, then you see yourself making the positive choices to place you in good health. If you want to see yourself living the life of your dreams, envision yourself doing the things that you would do in the life of your dreams. You want to know what happens when you start visualizing? You actually begin to get an excitement. You start to get the feeling of that thing before it even comes into your reality. And that, my friend, is the energetic power of the law of attraction. Once you can see it, you actually start to feel it. And if you can see it and you can feel it, you're already halfway there. So, affirmations, visualizations, positive self-talk, these are tools that can help you reprogram your thoughts. Doing things that naturally feel good, this helps you shift your mind and your reality. Sitting down in the dumps and constantly complaining with a friend about the life that you hate will not bring in the life of your dreams or the things that you desire. How? You're constantly focused on the negative. How can you attract the positive? Be real with yourself. We've all been there and done that. But the law of attraction says positive thoughts can attract a positive outcome, and negative thoughts attracts negative outcomes. You get what you focus on. So it's imperative that you focus on what you want. I know life is hard at times. I'm not asking you to walk around with this false sense of reality and act like things are all good all the time and life is happy all the time, because that's not a reality. There are things that happen that really hurt us, that disappoint us, that break us down to the core. This is a reality. You have to feel those feelings. You have to feel those emotions, and you must be honest about what you're feeling, because suppressing them and acting like those feelings aren't there, they do not resolve the issue or make them go away. Not to mention, you can speak what you want out of your mouth, but your mind must also be connected to what you're saying. So even if you are working with an affirmation tool, but your mind is saying the opposite, do you know what you're going to attract? You're going to attract the thing that you're really thinking about, because that's what you believe. That's another reason why many things that we are calling in and goals that we want to achieve are delayed, because we're writing it down. We're saying that we want this, but in the back of our mind, in our subconscious mind, we're telling ourselves all the reasons on why it'll be too difficult to achieve. There's too many people doing this. What's going to make me different? I've been on this path for years. I'm probably never going to see it through. If those are the things that you're telling yourself, but every year you're writing down the goal and saying that you want to see it happen, you're contradicting yourself, and you're making it difficult for you to achieve the things that you really want. You have to be honest with yourself. You also have to believe in yourself and the power that you have to attract and create the life that you truly desire. Can I encourage you by letting you know that you actually aren't doing it in your own strength? The alchemist says that when we make up in our mind that we want to achieve something, we are supported by the entire universe to see it through. Maybe you've never read the book The Alchemist, but in reality, God supports you in that same way. The vision that you constantly think about, that dream, that plan, that goal, God placed those things into your mind. And He also desires to give you the support to see Him through. But you have work to do. And your work is to be intentional. Intentional about what you're thinking about. Intentional about what you're saying to yourself. Intentional with your actions. Because are you using your time wisely? Are you doing the things that's going to get you closer to that dream, to that goal? Or are you being counterproductive? Are you delaying the program because of how you are moving, thinking, and the things that you are choosing not to do? For whatever reason, procrastination is a real thing. But you can make a change. You have the power. So, let's rewind a few things. Going back, as a reminder, your thoughts are powerful. So if you had a fresh new slate, clean slate, how would you choose to move forward? If you had a fresh new start with the knowledge that you have right now, how would you make things different? Maybe upon waking up, you would spend some time in silence. And before you grabbed your phone, you would actually visualize yourself in a better place, in a better state of mind, in a better partnership, relationship, friendship. Maybe you would take time to see yourself the way that you have always dreamed and allow yourself to get excited about the reality that you're attracting in. Maybe you'll take time to look into the mirror and empower yourself with words of affirmation, reminding yourself how good you look and how powerful and capable you really are. Reminding yourself that that task that you left undone will be completed because you have the power to do so and you're supported in your actions. Maybe you would take the time to create a vision board. And on that board, you would put the things that you want to attract into your life. Today, I just wanted to simply remind you that your thoughts do have power. And I don't know what you've been telling yourself over the years, but today you have the ability to change the narrative. You can create a brand new story and use the things that you've experienced as tools, as wisdom to make better choices, to produce better outcomes. Yes, you went through some difficult things in life, but you made it through. Use the wisdom to become a better person. But don't let the past control your life. Let's take a moment together and breathe. Deep breath from the core with a slow and gentle release. I invite you here to close your eyes, but you don't have to. But I do want you to remind yourself in this moment, as you breathe deeply from the core, my thoughts have power. I want you to repeat that to yourself. My thoughts have power. And I have the power to change my life.